tradition, courage, honor. They are what make us. We are the warriors of Tsushima. We are samurai!
Sitting up front at PlayStation's E3 2018 press conference, I was immediately blown away at the presentation for Ghost of Tsushima. Now I'm a huge fan of samurais, ninjas, stealth, visceral action, and pretty much all things Japan. Now it was apparent to me even back then that this game could effectively encompass all of these things in one package, and I'm happy to say that it does so spectacularly. Now even though I got my copy of the game early, it wasn't as early as some of those who were able to get review copies, so since this game has been out for about a week now, and reviews are everywhere, I'll just keep it tight and focus mostly on how I feel about the game.
I know your language, your traditions, your beliefs, which villages to tame and which to burn. So I'll ask you once again, Samurai, do you surrender?
Ghost of Tsushima takes place in the year 1274 during the Mongolian invasion of the Japanese island of Tsushima. While the invasion is a very real part of history, the events and characters found in the game are fiction. The game begins as a small group of brave samurai prepare to face off against the massive Mongolian invasion force. You assume the role of samurai Jin Sakai as he rides into battle alongside his uncle, Lord Shimura. The quick battle that follows doesn't end in his favor and the samurai are defeated. Jin is wounded and Lord Shimura is captured by the leader of the invaders known as Khotan Khan. Jin's goal becomes to rescue his uncle, mount a counterattack against the Mongolian army, and free the people of Tsushima.
Please, this is for you.
The last game Sucker Punch brought to the PS4 was Infamous Second Son. Now the Infamous series is well known for allowing players to make heroic or villainous choices that shape not only how the game ends, but also how you are perceived in the world. Ghost of Tsushima does not go deep down that moral path, but Jin does find himself faced with a dilemma. It becomes obvious during the game's opening cutscene that no matter how badass samurai are known to be, the small force assembled to defend Tsushima would not be enough to take on the Mongolian army. Now that Jin is on his own, he needs to adapt to be able to take down his enemies. After meeting with Yuna, a thief that saved him from the battlefield, Jin learns that he may need to act more like a thief to gain the upper hand. Using stealth to infiltrate enemy camps and kill enemies is a direct violation of the samurai code, which dictates that Jin fights with honor, in the open, and attacks enemies head on.
And cut down the Mongols where they stand.
If something goes wrong, they'll kill the prisoners. I've seen them do it. We have to go in quietly.
Like thieves.
What's wrong with that?
Fortunately for us, Jin doesn't wrestle with the idea for too long, and Ghost of Tsushima's combat becomes a wonderful mix of swordplay and stealth kills that is as satisfying to play as it is brutal to watch. You can approach combat any way you want. Most will find it more satisfying to go into all encounters sword in hand, but I prefer a mix of stealth and all-out action. There is no right or wrong way to approach a battle unless the game gives you a specific objective for a certain encounter. As you progress in the game, you will unlock 4 different stances that you can switch between at any time. These stances grant you access to new moves and combos. Each stance is also good at breaking the defense of certain enemy types. For example, Stone stance is effective against enemies with swords, while the Wind stance is suited for taking on enemies that use spears. Jin has just a few moves at his disposal to begin with. Early on, flashbacks that serve as tutorials will give him access to a few new moves. More moves and abilities such as Focus Hearing, the ability to see enemies through walls a la The Last of Us, and more equipment can be earned by completing quests known as Tales. Tales of Tsushima are quests that involve the companions that Jin meets throughout his journey. By completing these missions, you will learn more about your companions as they vow to help you fight back against the invaders.
They deserve to live. I'm the one who should be dead.
You are also rewarded for each one you complete. These rewards come in many forms, such as an increase to your legend status. In Ghost of Tsushima, you don't level up to become stronger in the traditional sense. To take on your foes, you must unlock and master new moves and equipment. Legend, however, is a type of XP you earn that rewards you with technique points, or TP. TP is then used to unlock abilities in Jin's different skill trees. In each skill tree, you will unlock things like the ability to use your sword to deflect arrows, new combos, and equipment upgrades, just to name a few. Then there are the mythic tales. These side quests send you out on fun, challenging journeys for ancient armor and powerful techniques. Every one of them is worth doing, and everything you unlock makes you feel more powerful as enemies scream and run away at the sight of you slaughtering their comrades. All of these things help to ensure that you can deal with any situation in a variety of ways and that combat never gets old. Ghost of Tsushima's combat and story are fun and engaging, but the real star is the game's world. The developers have said that they were not trying to recreate the island of Tsushima stone for stone, but they damn near did it anyway. Even with all of the carnage of war going on, the island is full of beautiful sights that beg to be captured in what is arguably the best photo mode in the game to date. When utilizing stealth, Jin can hide in tall grass that actually feels like it belongs there, and it isn't simply placed in an area for sneaking around. Now sure, you can tell it can be used for stealth, but it also feels like a natural part of the environment. There are dense forests with bright green, red, and golden leaves that react realistically when you walk or ride your horse through them. The world is so vibrant in the face of all the death going on at every turn. The contrast between burning villages and sacred temples is something that pictures and YouTube videos just can't do justice to. Sound plays a huge part in the immersion as well, especially when using a headset with the 3D audio option. You can sit in one location and hear the sounds of animals in one area and the screams of dying villagers from another. It makes you feel as if you're in 13th century Japan and the fates of countless innocent lives are in your hands.
They couldn't defend themselves. And I can't let more of our people die.
While the standard dialogue is recorded in English and is extremely well done, there is also a Japanese language option that pairs perfectly with Ghost of Tsushima's Kurosawa mode. In this mode, the entire game changes to black and white with extra wind effects and film grain that mimics the classic samurai films of Akira Kurosawa.
血も涙もなくただひたすらに暴虐だ
The inclusion of this mode shows just how much love the developers have for the source material, and it is a very welcome touch of creativity and style. Style is a huge part of the entire experience, right down to traversing the world. With no type of GPS in the year 1274, Jin can mark points on his map and the wind will blow in the direction of the objective. Swiping up on the touchpad will cause a gust of wind to blow just in case you lose your way. This is a feature that I simply love, and I won't be surprised when other developers use a similar system in their upcoming games. As far as the PlayStation 4 is concerned, The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima were my most anticipated games of 2020. Ghost of Tsushima lived up to all of my expectations and then some. I earned the Platinum Trophy shortly after finishing it, and I decided to start a second playthrough immediately. My only real complaint is that there isn't a new Game Plus option, but you can continue to play the game once the story has been completed. Ghost of Tsushima is a lengthy adventure, full of invaders to punish, foxes to chase, charms to collect, and so much more. There is a ton to see and do, and plenty to unlock without a single microtransaction to offend the eye. Ghost of Tsushima is to 2020 what God of War was to 2018, an epic single-player adventure that has set a standard for all games that follow. Without a doubt, this is my favorite PS4 game of the year, Here's hoping that an enhanced edition will be available when the PS5 launches later this year. As always, thank you for tuning in. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe to the channel and help us out. And stay tuned for more news, tips, and reviews here on PlayStation Haven.